Hey guys, welcome to Elevated Systems. I'm your host CJ, and this is a quick bonus video. In my last video, I showed you how I hand stitched or sutured all these wires together using an interrupted stitch. Today, I'm going to show you an alternative, less risky method of doing this, and the method I'm going to use to finish off these cables under here. For this, I'll be using a hand lacing method, which is an improvised version of the Chicago stitch line workers have been using for over 100 years. Now, this doesn't actually require any stitching, so no needle this time. This is a continuous hand tying or hand lacing technique, and you just need a bit of dexterity, some thermally bonded wax thread. This is the same wildfire thread I used last time. You also need a good sharp pair of sewing or dissecting scissors, a pair of tweezers, and a way of holding the wires in place as you work. Now, I've used small clamps, hemostats, even zip ties in a pinch to do this, but the best method I found is a single captive cable comb and a Velcro cable tie. I'll show you how this works as I get into the demo. And for the demo, I quickly put together a short 8-pin cable to use because trying to demonstrate on this jumble of cables inside this case is less than ideal. Also, the black cable with the white thread should provide a good contrast so you can really see what's going on. With all that said, let's set this up. First, as I built my cable, I slid on a captive cable comb before plugging the wires into the housing. Again, this is an 8-wire cable, so 4 sets of wires, which I'll refer to as 1, 2, 3, and 4. And for this demo, the clip side here is the bottom of the cable, and this side is the top, or the side you'll see when it's plugged in. Now let's start by cutting about an 18-inch set piece of thread. Then I'm going to fold the string in half. And then I want to take and put my thumb and forefinger right through this end of the string and just reach through and pinch the string and pull it through to make a little loop like that. And that's it. We're ready to start lacing. Okay, to start, I'm going to take this loop and I'm going to slide it up between my first and second set of wires. And I'm going to wrap the thread around, and the two ends I'm going to pass through the loop and then pull tight. And now I can take and just do a simple double knot to lock that down. And finally, to complete our starting stitch, I want to just take that knot and pull it down, slide it down to the bottom. So now it's on the bottom of the thread. So that's our starting stitch. Now let's lace the rest of the wires. And one of the keys to doing this with limited frustration is ensuring that the two strings stay separated. Make sure as you do this, they don't twist or cross over each other. So we always have a top thread on the motherboard side and a bottom thread on the power supply side. So to continue the lacing, what we want to do is take our thread and pass it now between the second and third set of cables or wires. And now comes the, well, not really tricky, but slightly tedious part. Now, keeping that thread separated, I'm going to take my top thread and slide it down from the top between the thread and the wires on that first set of wires. Now I'm just sliding the thread along the gap between the two wires and under the thread loop. And this is where tweezers can come in handy to grab that out and then pull it almost all the way through. I'm going to take my bottom thread and do the same thing, but what I want to do here to make this a little easier is go ahead and slide that top thread up so it's out of that gap and out of the way. So I can slide my bottom thread up. Now here, some people as they do this, they'll pass the thread through the loop that the other thread makes. This will add an additional knot and really isn't necessary. I don't do this and I'll explain why in the next step. But to finish this off, what we're going to do is grab our two strings, hold our cord, and then pulling, tighten it towards the starting stitch. All right. All right, now the next step is to take our top thread and make it our bottom thread. And we're going to do this by passing it back between the first and second set of wires below that loop we just made with the thread. And our bottom thread I'm going to take and pass between the first and second set above our thread loop. And then I'm gonna give it a good tighten, pull it down to tighten it up. And this is why I don't make that extra knot, because if you do, the thread won't naturally just cinch into place where it's supposed to. And the knot will actually cause things like this knot here to rotate out of place. And then our lacing can get a little messy and not lay as flat as we want to. Anyway, now it's just basically rinse and repeat. So this time I'm going to pass the thread between the third and fourth set of wires. Okay. And making sure they don't cross over like that. There we go. Again, I'm going to take my top thread, this way down, and then my bottom thread through here again, up. Now, again, pulling away, tighten it. Top thread back between the two sets of wires and below the loop. Then my bottom pull it tight. And then you're going to just keep doing that until you get to the end. And since this only had 4 sets of wires, I'm at the end. So I'll quickly get to the last 2 steps here. All right, now I've pulled them through to the bottom on my final set of wires. Now all I'm going to do is, just like I started the stitch, I'm going to end the stitch with just a double knot. And trim. And there's the first set of stitches. Now you'll determine your spacing and start the next one. And the benefit of using the hand lacing method is that you can basically shape your cable exactly how you want it and lock it into place. This is where my cable comb and Velcro tie comes into play. So if I want my cable to sweep out this way, what I can do is pull that cable comb along that path and then hold all those wires in place with my Velcro strap here. Typically the cable is already in the case, so this end is held by being clipped in place. But anyways, as you lace the cables along the curve and bends, it just stays in place. So if I lace all the way around here, that curve will just stay like that. And that's how I hand lace my PC cables. Now, I have a lot of lacing to do. If you want to see how this project turns out, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you have any questions, be sure to ask in the comments below. Is this something you might try? If so, let me know how it goes. That's it for this one, guys. Be sure to join me for the next one where I'll be installing some custom DIY RGB lighting in this case. Until then, stay safe.